Hey, good morning. Now, good afternoon, 60. How are you today? It's almost Christmas Eve, right? Big day. Um, and I worked out this afternoon with my good buddies, with Stu Lyon and with Carl Sullivan. Carl's a black man, and when he was a boxer, he was known as Carl Sullivan, the Irish Assassin. Um, and they're my good buddies. Carl actually fought for the world championship, I think in 1990. Anyway, Stu, talk about Stu a little bit today. Um, I think the more you know the people that I know, the more you'll know, understand who I am. Stu was the golden child. Um, Stu played at Fox Chapel High School, I think probably around 78, and he led a bunch of white guys to the Quad A state championship. Stu was all state. We played in the Dapper Dan Round Ball Classic, which was the nation's first big high school all-star game. Um, and then he went to Oregon, played for Harder, I think, in Oregon. Then he transferred to Georgia Tech, had a very good career at Georgia Tech. He had 29 on CBS against North Carolina. And Michael Jordan was guarding him. Yes, that Michael Jordan. Stu was a great player. And then graduated from Georgia Tech. And Stu graduated from Georgia Tech, and then he went on to Duke and got his MBA. He was on the right path. And then he spent most of the last 10 years homeless because of substance abuse. First, I kind of felt guilty, like a lot of people. I felt guilty about knowing Stu or helping Stu or whatever, because I felt, wow, therefore, how's that? Therefore, but the grace of God go on. That's a terrible way to look at somebody. Essentially, that says, hey, thank God it's him and not me. All right, and that's basically what that kind of thinking is. And I felt guilty. I thought therefore I liked Stu for a while, because it's a basketball guy. We're both basketball guys, and when he was at the Light of Life homeless, the Light of Light men's shelter, I went down and knocked on the door down there, and I asked for Stu, and like, hey Stu, I'm Coach Roy. He's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, yeah, and I gave him a job, and we've been friends ever since. The thing about Stu is this: in the last 10 years, and even very recently, he's been in and out of one rehab or another, or one shelter or another, or one halfway house or another. And the amazing thing about Stu is this: is tomorrow's always going to be better. He's had a really tough time. Really, nobody would trade places with Stu. Like all of us, our deepest wounds are self-inflicted. He'll be the first to tell you that he did this to himself. Still though, every time you see Stu, he makes your day. He has a kind word for everybody. I've never seen him be bitter or angry, and he always feels like he's got this thing whipped and that tomorrow's going to be better. And Stu got into boxing. Stu got me back into boxing. And, we work out together a lot, and, try to keep him on a straight and narrow, tries to keep me on a straight and narrow. And Stu's a great guy. If you want to read about Stu, go to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. My friend Mike White, who was the high school sports editor, he did a great piece on Stu. And it's though parts of it are heartbreaking, it's in the end it's ultimately just like Stu. It's uplifting. So this Christmas I'm thankful for Stu. I worked out with Stu today and with Carl, and great guys, the absolute best. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I hope there's a Stu in your life that helped. helps you realize your bad times aren't as bad as they think. Peace. B-60. Merry Christmas. Go Jesus.